Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be reviewing The Troop by Nick Cutter. This was recommended to me by Kayla Lenzen to read during subscriber month. I read this in August and I knew what The Troop was about. I knew it was a horror about a group of boys that are on this island and all this creepy stuff happens. Kayla actually did a whole video review dedicated to The Troop and she loved it. And when I picked this book up blindly, I thought, okay, great. I'm excited to read it. And I thought, well, if Kayla likes it, then there's going to be a high possibility that I will too. So as I said, The Troop is written by someone called Nick Cutter. Now, that's not the real name of this author. The real name of the author that wrote The Troop is a guy called Craig Davidson, who is a Canadian author. And he has actually got two pen names. One which is obviously Nick Cutter, and the other one which is called Patrick. And I cannot say the surname of that nickname or pen name, so I will put it up here. And this book was published on the 25th of February 2014. It doesn't have a movie based on it, but doing research I found out that there is a movie in the works for it. So my general thoughts on The Troop were fairly mixed. There were things about it that I liked and some things that I didn't really like about it. Before I get started, I just want to say that this is going to be a spoiler-free video and this is going to be my general thoughts and feelings about this book. And also, before I tell you what the story is all about, I just want to say that this does have scenes that involve animal torture in graphic detail, and throughout the book it also describes numerous things that are very gross out and horrific in graphic detail as well. So if you are easily offended by that type of stuff, or if you have a weak stomach, then maybe give this book a miss. So The Troop is about a small group of Boy Scouts that go to this remote island. It's a very small island with their scoutmaster, Tim Riggs, who is a doctor. And they are just there primarily to earn some merit badges and to get some life experiences and pretty much to go on a camping trip. There are all cabins up there, all wooden cabins that are already situated on the islands. And they are just there to have fun and to basically go on a camping trip. We also are introduced to this very mysterious man who is very deformed. He's very skinny, he is very deformed in the face, and his general appearance is very, I wouldn't say disgusting, but it's very unusual. He goes into a diner and he starts to eat everything that he can get his hands on, no matter whether it's food or drink or what. He even eats tissues, and he constantly eats and eats and eats, and that's all he wants to do. He's not harming anyone, he's not being offensive to the staff at this diner. He's just always wanting to eat more and more stuff. We also discover that later on in the story that Tim and the scouts, or these boys, discover this man coming out of the sea, and he asks Tim for shelter and for help, basically, somewhere to spend the night, maybe some food, and then in the morning he'll go on his merry way. So when I read this part, I thought, okay, you really want to let a stranger in to a cabin with a bunch of boys that you've never met? That looks a bit unusual. But Tim, being a doctor, he feels compelled to help this person out, primarily because he feels sympathy for him and that he wants to help him out because he's a doctor and that's what he's been trained to do, I guess. So the boys go off at one point in a massive group and explore this island, and they have discussions with each other, and we see flashbacks about their lives on the mainland with their parents and just their general day-to-day lives. We find out that there is a very disturbed young individual. I can't remember if this is his actual name, I can't remember, but I think it might be Shelley or something like that. He is extremely disturbed. I mean, what he thinks in his mind is very, very horrible and cruel and horrific. It really is. We find out that he has a fascination with like killing animals. We find out that he had a little kitten that he had at home, like a very small kitten, and he ran a bath and he basically tried to drown this kitten. He held it under the water, and the kitten was obviously trying to struggle and get out, and he took it out, and the kitten was all like, "Oh, what have you done to me? I'm not sure whether I should love you, or you tried to kill me," and all that type of stuff. And then the kitten obviously lashes out and cuts this boy, and then this kid holds the kitten under the water again and ultimately kills it in a vicious way. And what's even more disturbing is that he is sexually aroused by this. It excites him in that way, and it's just very, very disturbing to read. It really is. So once again, if that will disturb you or trigger you, then be warned about that. There is a very graphic scene about a sea turtle that the boys on the island find and they drag ashore, and they do all sorts of horrible things to it. So once again, if you are very, very squeamish, then do not read this book. So the boys on the islands, they act like general teenage boys. They talk about all these gross out things, and they have a banter with each other. We find out that one of them is overweight and he's constantly being picked on because of that fact. And they also have like, oh, would you rather, or what would you rather do games, or whatever it's called. And they say, oh, well, what would you rather do? Eat some feces or have a homeless person fart in your face? And I'm like, why? I mean, why? What's the point? I mean, there isn't any good situation here. I mean, you could either eat feces, which is disgusting, or have a homeless man fart in your face. I mean, there is actually no better outcome. I mean, but I suppose, that's what teenage boys talk about. It's been a while since I was a teenager. And they also talk about a bear's backside for a while, which has been brought up in the conversation somehow. So they are always talking about all that horrible, gross out stuff. They never talk about girls, so there are no females in this book whatsoever. It's just purely guys, which is fine. I suppose that teenage boys don't really have a much of an interest in girls, well, depending on their ages in the book anyway. I thought that they were okay. I thought that this book was written in a good way, that this is probably the closest thing that you can get to reading a Stephen King book without reading a Stephen King book. And it has all this gross out content in it that overshadows that fact. It also describes about how this man that I mentioned that went into that diner finds all this stuff on this island, like crabs and sand, and how when he bites into a crab, all this gooey, salty liquid oozes out of this crab and all that type of stuff. So it's very, very gross out. So ultimately we find out that there is a parasite on this island. I won't say, I won't go into any more detail about that, but think about The Thing by John Carpenter, and then set that situation on an island with a bunch of Boy Scouts. That is pretty much what you're going to get with this book. And topped up with a bunch of, well, not a bunch, a obscene amount of gross out content. And it's just about these boys trying to survive this parasite and trying to get away from this island. You're probably saying, well, David, they probably can get on the boat that they came in on. Well, they can't, because the boat has been destroyed, and or a part of the engine's been missing, and they cannot get it fixed. And they are trying to, I think they're trying to wait for someone to come from the mainland to the island to get them off the island. So this was a really good book. It was certainly different. It was very gross out. I listened to it on audio, although I do have it on my Kindle. So it was a very interesting read, I'll say that. So what I liked about it was, I suppose the writing style was really easy to read and to get through. Some of the characters were really interesting, I suppose, although I didn't have any connection to any of these people in this book. And the general story of a group of Boy Scouts on an island that are getting hunted down by a parasite that wants to kill them was extremely interesting to me. It kind of reminded me a lot of The Ruins by Scott Smith. And what I disliked about it was, as I said, the gross out descriptions for this book, or throughout this book. It could have had a little bit of disgusting description throughout this book, or in this book rather. But because there was so much of it, it kind of overwhelmed me, and I don't know, it didn't really spoil the story. It kind of just overshadowed it a little bit, or a lot. So I'm going to rate The Troop by Nick Cutter, or Craig Davidson, a 3.5 stars out of 5. So in conclusion, would I recommend this book to you guys? Well, as I always say, that is completely up to you. This is why I do these videos, so you can watch this and make up your own minds based on my thoughts. But know that this book is extremely disgusting. Do not eat or drink anything, even water, while you're reading this book, unless you have a very strong stomach. But if you are curious, I think that this is probably going to be one of them books which is going to be whispered around, like, oh, have you read this book by Nick Cutter? It's been getting loads of attention recently, and it's supposed to be really, really disgusting and gory. And I'm going to read that because of that reason. People are going to read it despite whether it's disgusting or not. So, give it a try, but just keep in mind about what I said, and also about the animal torture as well. So if that triggers you, then as I said, give this one a miss. But yeah, give it a try. You might like it. I am not sure whether I'm going to be reading anything else by Nick Cutter. If all his books are full of gross out content, then I will give them a miss. Thank you very much. But I might read the novels by Craig Davidson. I might give one of them a try. There was one about a ghost, or like a group of kids that go around this neighborhood, and there's some ghosts involved. I can't remember what the book is called, but I will put it up here. So I might give that one a try. So that's it, guys. That is my review for The Troop by Nick Cutter. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Comment down below, let me know, have you read this book? What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? And if you have enjoyed this video as a whole, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you do, please click on that bell, as it will remind you whenever I upload videos, which are every Monday and Friday. I will have a link down below to Kayla's channel, so please check her out, as merely saying that Kayla is awesome is a understatement. I will have a link down below to my Goodreads account, as always, in case you want to follow me and see what I'm reading. And with all that out of the way, have a great day, read some awesome books, and I will see you all in my next video.